Welcome to another episode of Erik Wait Whiskey Studies, and in this video, gonna do a review of the Glenturret 12-year-old Highland single malt Scotch whiskey. This is a 2021 release. In a previous video, I did a review of the 10-year-old, which was a 2022 release. But before I get into this whiskey, I'm gonna tell you about the profile of Glenturret Distillery, their core range, and this whiskey. Glenturret Distillery is located 2 miles or 3 kilometers northwest of Crieff in Perthshire, Scotland, on the banks of the Turret River. The name Glenturret means Valley of the Rushing Stream. The distillery was officially established in 1763 and was originally known as Hosh and owned by the Drummond family. In 1875, Thomas Stewart took over the distillery and renamed it Glenturret. Today, Glenturret Distillery is owned by the Lalique Group. Glenturret Distillery's water source is the Loch Turret. The malts used in production are lightly peated. Glenturret Distillery used to hand mash their barley, but since 2022, they use a 1-ton lauter mash tun. They use wooden washbacks with a 48-hour fermentation. They have 2 stills, a wash still with a capacity of 12.5 thousand liters, and 1 spirit still with a capacity of 9,000 liters. And they use a shell and tube condenser. Glenturret has 6 on-site dunnage warehouses with a 10,000 cask capacity. The distillery uses a combination of American and European oak casks. The Glenturret Core Range. Each annual release of the core range of whiskeys can have minor variations in casking and alcohol by volume. The Glenturret Triplewood Highland single malt Scotch whiskey is matured in American and European oak sherry seasoned casks alongside bourbon barrels, typically around 45% alcohol by volume. The Glenturret 7-year-old peat smoke Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, aged in American oak sherry seasoned casks, typically around 44% alcohol by volume. The Glenturret 10-year-old peat smoke Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, aged in first fill and second fill American and European casks, typically bottled around 50% alcohol by volume. The Glenturret 12-year-old peat smoke Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, aged in American oak hogsheads, European oak casks, typically bottled around 46% alcohol by volume. The Glenturret 15-year-old peat smoke Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, aged in European oak and cherry casks, typically bottled around 50% alcohol by volume. The Glenturret 12-year-old Highland single malt Scotch whiskey 2021 release. It's aged for 12 years in first and second fill American and European oak casks. It has natural color, it's non-chill filtered, bottled at 46% alcohol by volume, and sells for about $87 in my neighborhood. So around April 2016, I began my journey in whiskey. Previously, I was studying wine. I'm a certified sommelier, WSET diploma, French wine scholar, yada, 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 yada. And then I got introduced to whiskey while preparing for exams, for studying spirits for the WSET diploma. The very first whiskey that just really caught my attention, it was a Macallan 12-year-old from one of those little mini bottles. And I was just like, wow, I couldn't believe how complex it was. Now, a lot of people today sort of stick their nose up at Macallan, but I'm not going to get into that. But at the time, since whiskeys were so new to me, it was easy to have wow moments with whiskeys because everything's new, everything's wow. Everything's just like so intense. Going from wines into whiskeys because the flavors are so intense because the ABV is higher. You know, everything's concentrated in a whiskey in comparison to a wine. That it's easier to just have those wow moments. Within a short period of time, I'd gone to Kentucky, visited 6 distilleries. A year later or so, I'm off to Scotland. And at the recording of this video, I've been to Scotland 3 times, been to somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 distilleries, and I'm scheduled to go back in April 2024. I'll be up in the northwestern Highlands and the Hebrides and the islands over there, taking an exam on the Isle of Raasay for the Master of Scotch exam. I have no idea how many whiskeys I have tried since 2016. So over the last 7 years or so. I've got over 400 bottles here. Not just in terms of the whiskeys I've reviewed. I review 30 to 50 every year. But whiskeys I've tried, say at the Whiskey Vault down in Texas, or with friends, or travel around Scotland, whatever. You know, just after a while, you just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of whiskeys. The challenging part of that is it becomes more and more difficult to have wow moments. You become accustomed to great whiskeys. Yeah, I've tasted a lot of really, really good whiskeys, really high-end whiskeys, some really expensive whiskeys, you know, whiskeys that I've given higher scores than others, you know. That's a lot of the Fish Ale editions from Islay stand out in my mind. A lot of great Scotch Malt Whisky Society whiskeys. But still, it becomes more and more difficult to have those wow moments. Now, when I first opened this Glenturret 10-year-old, which I previously reviewed, right away, I was like, wow, this is something different. This is something really, 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 really different. And it's not just a beautiful bottle made by Lilique. It's absolutely spectacular whiskey. And I was like, hey, boom, new distillery on the radar. Got to get more and more into Glenturret. So now doing this 12-year-old from 2021, I'm even more impressed. Now, something I say a lot is don't judge a whiskey by neck pour. And yet both of these whiskeys from a neck pour were just like, you know, showstoppers. Just right off the bat, just whoa, really, really something special here. Now, from the neck pour of this 12-year-old, it had a little funk to it that reminded me of Springbank. And I gotta be honest with you, I've been a little torn going, maybe I shouldn't review these whiskeys, or maybe I should tell people not to buy these whiskeys. I'm a little afraid that Glenturret will become the next Springbank. You know, as everybody knows, Springbank's really challenging to come by because of the way in which they do production. I spent 5 days working there, and so I'm fairly acquainted with how they make whiskey. Because of the way they do production, they're limited as to how much they can produce, and because they've gotten so much attention, the prices go up and up and up and up. They're really challenging to come by, and then there's the flippers and the secondary market and all that. All right, there's been a lot of hype about Springbank. So I'm a little concerned. I don't want to do the same thing with another distillery, and I'm almost like, shh, this is just between me and you as my viewers and subscribers. Shh, don't tell anyone, don't tell anyone. Glenturret is awesome. If you can get a bottle, buy it. But I'm a little afraid the word's really gonna get out. This is an amazing whiskey. And right off the nose, it had a little funk that reminded me of Springbank. But as I've gotten more into it, that has gone away. I think that was a little bit of a sherry cask funk. This whiskey has everything going on. It is savory on the nose and on the palate, and I haven't sipped it yet, but I've got it down to here. It is really, really rich. On the nose, I'm getting dark, dried black fruit notes. I'm getting fudge. I'm getting baking spices. I'm getting an earthy character. A little bit of that funk. Dark caramels. Vanilla. Maybe a little bit of orange, almost like a chocolate covered orange. Real nice spices. Dates, figs, raisins. Maybe even a little bit of lemon, so it has a citrus note going on there. Stewed plums. There is a savory note there, almost like Worcestershire sauce, soy sauce. Worcestershire sauce. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm not sure. Google it. It has that umami character going on there, so sweet. It's got maybe a little saltiness, savory, some herbal notes going on there, and an umami character on the palate. Wow. Wow. So when I first opened this bottle, poured myself a little bit, sat down in front of the big screen TV. I can watch YouTube on the big screen TV. I was watching Daniel Whittington. He's now doing solo videos on the Whiskey Vault. And it was a question and answer video, Daniel's first question and answer video. So I poured myself some, and I'm watching this video, and all of a sudden, I couldn't watch the video anymore. I couldn't pay attention to what he's talking about because this whiskey was grabbing my attention so much. So I paused the video and just focused on the whiskey. There are whiskeys you can enjoy on the side, watch a movie or have conversations, and then there are whiskeys that just grab your attention, and this is one of those. Sweet, savory, salty. It's got the umami soy sauce kind of a character to it. A huge transition from the front and the middle into the finish. Long finish. I'm still tasting it now. Really nice mouthfeel to it. It has Tootsie Rolls or some sort of dark chocolate going on in there. It has got it going on. Really impressive. Really complex. This is just an absolutely superb whiskey. And I am going to be on the hunt for buying more Glenturret. I'm going to buy every Glenturret I can, and may even start emptying out the shelves of stores just so I have plenty of Glenturret. Because I'm a little concerned that Glenturret will be impossible to find the way Springbank is impossible to find. I'm going to give this a solid 95 points. 95 points is definitely among my top 10 for 2023. If you've not had Glenturret and you're looking for something for extra special, buy yourself a gift for Christmas because your friends and relatives aren't going to splurge and get you a bottle for Christmas, so buy one for yourself. I highly recommend it. This is just absolutely fantastic. This is one of those, I think, rare moments in which the beauty of the bottle is matched by the beauty of the whiskey. I absolutely love this whiskey. I'm going to be in the Northwestern Highlands and the Islands in 2023. I want to maybe in 2024. I'm already planning ahead in my trip to 2025 and for my 5th trip to Scotland to go up the eastern coast and all that. And if I can, I want to visit Glenturret Distillery because this is just simply an amazing and just a beautiful whiskey. All right, that's it for this video. If you subscribe to this channel, I want to thank you very much. If you've not yet subscribed, but you like watching my videos, I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe. Ring the bell to be notified for when I go live or post a video. And until next time, Sláinte. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and check out these other whiskey videos.